Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. Today I'll be coloring my original characters from my comic Tales of Lordaine. I feel like I keep saying like, hey, you can read my comic here, but I never really explained like who my characters are really, and if I did, that was like a long time ago. And so I just wanted to try and redraw my characters again with Copic markers and Ohuhu markers. And basically, this is also like a good thing too, because I have not colored or drawn anything traditional like a whole illustration in years, thanks to Procreate, which is, in my opinion, at least for me, the best drawing app for the iPad. It's minimalistic. I like simple things, so Procreate has like a lot of simple functions that I like. It works for me, so I just started using it and never went back to traditional art. So now I'm trying to get back into the swing of things because I miss using my Copic markers, and I'm slightly making it a little hobby of collecting each Copic marker, because a Michael's open near I work, so sometimes on Saturdays I would swing by and just see if they have any deals, and I'll just collect some for my collection. So I'm trying to get back into traditional art just for that too. So so those were the art supplies I will be using for this video, and here is the reference. I am using this chibi reference sheet of my characters that I drew 2 years ago, and I'll be using that to color my characters today. A lot of these colors are very outdated, and I will be making a new reference sheet soon, not digitally this time, but for traditional supplies that I have, because one thing I've noticed is that some of these colors are not clashing correctly with my characters now that I am slightly more experienced with color theory and just experimenting with colors as a whole. So let me talk about my characters because this video is kind of going a little too fast, and I apologize, but for this video I also want to give you guys some insight about who my characters are. So this is also like a get to know me original character style thing, if that even exists. Anyways, here is Olivia. She is the main character of my comic. She is the granddaughter of the king in her village, and she is mistreated by everybody, especially the king, because after she was born, her mother and father mysteriously disappeared, and after they disappeared, that's when random monsters have encountered her home, and people are like mad at her because ever since she was born, bad things happened, period. And they think she's like the overall source of it. So she's just been mistreated her whole life until it was, I think it's the King's Ball. I forgot. I wrote this down in my whole script thing. I think it's like a ball or something where she officially snapped and decided to leave her hometown to discover the real secret of what happened to her beloved parents. And more about her, she has no power, but she's very good at sightseeing, exploring. At least that's what I predict, really. I actually need to like go back and like rewrite my story or like check little things just in case something's off about it. But for what I wrote, she's like a sightseer, so she knows like she can easily like find cities, lands, etc. with a map and stuff. And she is very stubborn, but at the end, in the middle, later in the story, she finds out like, hey, friendship is everything. It's okay to ask for help and stuff, and maybe these guys that I encounter can help me find my parents and other stuff, while I can also help them with their problems. So she is basically a huge vibe. She is very nice to hang around with. Unfortunately, I also did write that her favorite food for some reason are insects. I think that's just that will be like a permanent running gag I have in my head, because I don't know really if my characters are human except for Jack, which is the guy holding Olivia. I think he's like the only human so far. I think everybody else is like not real or like a fantasy character. So here is Olivia, all colored. I love her color scheme. The only thing I would change is her hair. I'm getting sick of drawing the whole bun situation, so that will definitely change later in the future. So the next character we have is Jack. He is the only human in my story. Basically, his side story is that he's a senior, and he goes on a senior trip. He gets harassed by bullies, and then he ends up owning, quote unquote, owning them, or like beating them in their own game and stuff. They get humiliated. What happens next is when he's sleeping, they take him and then they leave him abandoned. So basically, the whole senior trip is like a snow resort type situation. So they leave him in the snow just to perish, and he wakes up all lost, and he sees Olivia in this whole block of ice underground fighting a monster, and he's trying to like help her out by like shouting, and he ends up breaking through the ice and falling on top of the monster, and like that's where the whole duo journey begins. He basically wants to go home no matter what, because he obviously does not belong in that mythical world. So that's what really his goal is. He is very sweet, but widely selfish, because he again wants to go home, even if it means like having other people get hurt sometimes. He's kind of nonchalant about people and their feelings, really, until he finds out. Well, he later understands like the pain it is seeing someone you care about get hurt. He's like, oh my gosh, I need to like change my whole perspective and stuff. So overall, he's not like a super villain. He's just selfish. Like, you know, those teens who are like, they have like horrible character development, and then it improves, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're so cool and all that stuff. He is also very inspired by Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians. I think that's where I got his name from and his design. But yeah, that's him, and he is a precious boy. So the next character we have is, I feel like, I think the third character I would normally draw in my sketchbook. Her name is Lucy. She is a red mage, and she is very heavily inspired by Final Fantasy 3, which is Final Fantasy 3 in 3D. I need to be more like elaborate with that, because when I type in Final Fantasy 3, it's gonna be like a whole different game. It's the RPG one, the old one that's like on the Nintendo DS and stuff. You can find it in the App Store. So when I play that game, it's like an on-off relationship. I love that game, but I keep ignoring it and going back to it. And when I do, I restart the whole game. I use a walkthrough and everything, but I still end up like restarting everything. and I don't mind because that game is amazing. I love the whole old school RPG thing. So within that game, I love to play as a warrior. I like to play as a red mage, and those characters have amazing character designs. So that's what she's inspired from. So when it comes to her backstory, she's just like a mage Olivia and the team finds in the woods, and she sucks at her magic. So to try to gain confidence and improve within herself, she joins them, and she ends up being widely useful to the team. A little too powerful, but very, very useful. And she and Olivia might as well be sisters because that's how their dynamic is. That's how I wrote them, to be like sisters and like best friends and stuff. I think because they're like the same age, but like her personality is very positive. She does not tolerate any negativity. No matter how bad a situation gets, she's always the one that's like, let's go team, let's go. I think I love characters who are like that. Like, they don't give up hope no matter what. I know it sounds very cheesy, but like, you know, you don't really want to hang out with someone who is very negative all the time. It just brings like the whole vibe down with anything, even if the situation is very small. That happens a lot like at work sometimes. So like when I work with people who have like a somewhat like tired, negative attitude, it's like a little like I get tired too, but at the same time, like, you know, constantly complaining, it doesn't really make the work go faster. I don't know. And it makes me want to leave work as soon as possible to get away from them, but it's whatever, it happens. But yeah, she is again the vibe of the party, and I love her design. She used to be like very pastel, but I changed it to like her color scheme being like red as the dominant color, and I love it. It's so cute and amazing. So the next character, we have probably the most strongest within the whole circle. His name is Luke. He is the royal knight to the king, and he and Olivia, they can be brother and sister, but they're not related. So basically, he finds her in the woods, and she tells him what's happening, and he chooses to help but also guard her. So he basically doesn't like people outside of his town really, but he's not like a racist or anything. He's just very protective of people who live in the same space as he does, well, town. So basically, the main conflict with him is that, well, one of the main conflicts is that him and Jack do not get along for multiple reasons. He does not like that he's a human, and he feels like he gets Olivia in trouble a lot. And it does happen, like, where in the story they get into a lot of like misadventures thanks to either Jack or Olivia's like sense of mind, and Luke ends up still getting mad, and he often like sometimes threatens Jack to like he'll kill him and stuff, but like he's not a bad guy. He's just very extremely protective, and that's just how he was, and that's why he is labeled as the royal knight. He cares for others, and yeah, eventually later in the story, he does learn to let loose and accept everybody for who they are and swear to protect everybody, no matter like if they belong or not. It's just like I don't know if he's like insecure or anything. I don't know. I think he just needs to let loose. I don't know. I'm not really a psychologist or whatever. I just wrote down in my notes that he was very very protective, and he has a soft spot for Olivia. And then soon he gets a soft spot for Rain, because that becomes like his little love interest, quote unquote. So yeah, that's super cool. He's very when it comes to his design, he is very inspired by oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Yuri from Tales of Vesperia, or you know that one Tales game with the dude with the long black hair? That's where I was inspired to draw him from, because I played that game. First of all, I am a big like Tales fan. My first ever game was Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of the New World. That was the first game I played, and I still feel like it's one of my favorites. And then I played Tales of the Abyss. I did not finish that. I need to pick it up again and play it again, because it's very good, but I just didn't really have the time to get back into it. And then I played Tales of Vesperia, or whatever it's pronounced, and I beat that game. That game was amazing. I loved it. It did take me a long time to finish it though, because that's like a different type of RPG where it's like I have to really pay attention to like the arts and like the combat style, but overall it's such a good game. And that's where Luke was inspired from. I love how in the game that Yuri is like this tall, handsome, like knight character, and I wanted Luke here to have like the same attitude and design as him, but make him like, he's more silent though. Luke doesn't talk until something triggers him, and when he does speak, it's never like anything like good. It's more like a threat sometimes, especially if he's angry. So he's just like in the background, but he's like very, very scary, but like to himself though. But he's not a bad guy, and he's well needed within the team, and yeah, he is amazing. So the next character is Chester. Chester is the magical cat on the bottom left, and I love him so much. He is very inspired by any cat or any talking cat. Fun fact, I love cats. I don't have one, but I want to get one later. How I draw cats, I don't use a reference really. What I do, I look up cat poses, but then I twist the pose to make it like my own derpy little creature type thing. I love how my cats look derpy. I don't know. I know that you're supposed to like draw by life and stuff, but I feel like with cats just, you can draw them however you want, and people could still tell like, hey, that's a cat. I feel like you can't do that really with a dog, but yeah, Chester, he's just a magical cat that, well, not magical, actually mysterious. He's a mysterious cat Olivia finds in the woods, and he needs help, and she wants to aid him, so he tags along with her and the group on their journey. And when they find out who he really is, it's like, oh my gosh, I love him. He's like the sense of reason for Olivia, because he meets her like in the way beginning of the story. So before Jack, Luke, Rain are introduced, he's there to help her, and he is like your guardian friend. And yeah, that's basically it. He is very sweet. He is kind of like sassy when it comes to Jack, but overall they're still best buds. So the last character is Rain, and oh my gosh, I this is where I wanted to kind of not really scratch the video, but I was kind of doubting myself. Y'all, I colored her horrible. I'm not afraid to say it. I drew her badly. her, first of all, I think what really ruined it was her skin tone, because I draw, especially now since I'm older, I try to draw a lot of black people, because I am black and I want to draw like characters that will have the same complexion as me in my illustrations. And here's the thing, it's easy to do that in Procreate because it's easy to like color pick stuff. But in traditional art, I really fumbled her skin tone. And I was very upset because she looked twice as dark as I wanted her to be. Not that like being dark is like horrible or anything, it's very beautiful, but that wasn't her color scheme originally. She's like a milk. I'm trying to not sound weird. She is like a milk chocolate. She has like a milk chocolate complexion, but it's not like tan. It's like in between. But she is amazing, and I really fumbled her skin tone a little bit. And yeah, it kind of sucks, but overall it's okay. It's not the end of the world, but I definitely need to examine my markers and actually pick a good skin tone for her, because she is a queen and she deserves everything coming to her. So like, by her having like a horrible skin tone because I don't know my color theory correctly, that's like my fault and I need to get better with that. But yeah, also I need to change her outfit because I feel like this outfit's not really working anymore. Well, at least like the pants, maybe, I don't know. But anyways, let me stop being negative. Let's talk about her backstory. She is basically like a warrior, Olivia. Well, actually, Jack finds, because she was like in a hot spring, and Jack sneaks up on her, and she threatens to kill him, and they end up being captured, and it's like this whole arc type situation. And then sooner she agrees to help Olivia and the team. She is not a people person at all, but eventually she learns the power of friendship, and she gets like a little soft crush on Luke, the guy on the bottom. She gets accustomed to him, I think first, because like he's quiet, he doesn't bother her. He stays in his own little world, yet he is very protective. And she's like, oh my gosh, like, you're a literal king, I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry. That was very cringy to say. But yeah, they get along the most, and then she cannot tolerate Jack, Olivia, and Lucy, probably I think because they're children. And she's like in her mid-20s, so like obviously her attention span, her oh my gosh, what's the word? Her patience, her patience gets very low with them sometimes, especially when they're in deep trouble. So she is indeed the mom of the group, and Luke is the father of the group, and that's the narrative I have in my head. So yeah, when I get back into drawing the comic, whenever that is, I hope, well, I will explain more about their backstory later. I think you guys will like them. I personally do. They were my OCs since 2014, which is when I first created them. And this is the final drawing. And yeah, I hope to explain more about them in the future if you guys are interested. And thank you for hearing me ramble in this long video. I haven't recorded a speed paint in years, well, months, like an actual traditional one. So yeah, even my commentary is like all over the place. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and please let me know down below who is your favorite character, and if you want me to draw a character more, who do you want me to draw. I personally wouldn't mind I hope you guys like Luke or Jack more because I feel like they deserve more love, but any character is fine by me. And yeah, you guys have a good day and keep on drawing. Bye!